Secret project, mustard gas hell. In 1942, World War II was burning the world. Behind the battles of tanks and planes, there was another war never mentioned in history books. The war in the laboratory. At a secret base in Florida, hundreds of young American soldiers lined up, unaware that they were not being trained to fight Germany or Japan. They were about to fight an invisible poison. In a closed room, a military doctor wrote on a blackboard. Mustard gas, effects, dosage, tolerance. Mustard gas, a chemical weapon notorious since World War I for melting human flesh, burning lungs, and blinding victims. A weapon banned by the Geneva Conventions. But, the US and Britain wanted to know something. If the enemy uses it again, how will we survive? The answer? Sacrificing their own soldiers. They came from all over the country, young men aged 18 to 24. They signed volunteer forms for medical trials to protect troops from chemical attacks. No one was told what was really going to happen. Among them were John Miller, a newlywed from Ohio. Robert Kane, a farmer's son from Kansas. David Thompson, a young black man who hoped this experiment would give him a chance at promotion. They all believed this was part of their patriotic duty. Little did they know they were about to enter a space that would become a living hell. The first day of the experiment. The air in the sealed chamber felt heavy. 20 soldiers stood nervously, staring at each other. The fluorescent lights in the ceiling quivered slightly, casting long shadows on the steel walls. A doctor entered, wearing a white coat and latex gloves. His name was Colonel Richard Harrington. He carried a clipboard and said in a flat tone, "You are here to test your endurance. This is for the safety of our troops. Remain calm, follow instructions." No one asked what was about to happen. When the metal door was locked from the outside, there was a click that made their chests tighten. Then, the gas valve opened. At first, nothing seemed out of place. But slowly, a faint, onion-like odor permeated the air. The mustard gas was invisible, but the poison was taking effect. 10 minutes, their eyes stung. Some began rubbing their faces, not realizing they were making the wounds worse. 20 minutes, violent coughing. Hoarse voices. Throats felt like they were on fire. 40 minutes, the first blisters appeared on John Miller's neck. Yellow fluid seeped out, making him scream. 60 minutes, the skin on Robert Kane's arms blistered like meat doused in boiling water. Screams filled the room. They banged on the door, trying to get out. But from behind the glass, the doctors simply recorded data. Classified log, classified. Subject number 12, 60 minutes of exposure, large blisters on 40% of the body's surface area. Eyes severely irritated. Body temperature spiked. Subject number 7, vomiting blood. Orders, do not stop exposure. Priority data. The next day, the soldiers were separated. Some were taken to a new room with different protective clothing. They were given uniforms that were supposedly gas-proof, but many turned out to have intentionally leaked. "We have to know," Harrington told his assistant. "If they leak on the battlefield, how long will they last?" Other experiments used even more gruesome methods. Mustard gas was applied directly to soldiers' bare skin. Wounds were deliberately made with knives, then doused with gas to determine the poison's penetration. Some soldiers were made to squat naked in the gas chamber for a position difference test. Robert Kane tried to resist when his pants were pulled down. He shouted, "This isn't for the country. This is madness. You're slaughtering us." An officer knocked him unconscious. When he regained consciousness, chemical burns had spread from his groin to his stomach. The victims weren't killed immediately. They were kept in quarantine for observation. The room reeked of rot. Blistering flesh, oozing pus, screams of agony day and night. John Miller, who once wrote letters to his wife, now lay there, his skin peeling like flesh. His eyes were white, completely blind. His breathing was labored. He felt the air and whispered softly, "Am I still human?" Some soldiers lost their minds. They laughed, cried, and clawed at their own skin. One doctor wrote, "Classified, psychological effects, delusions appear after exposure 48 hours. Subjects begin to speak with hallucinations, begging for death. But death was forbidden. They were kept alive as long as possible, for science." Official documents listed this as a chemical protection test. But internal memos gave it the code name, Operation Rabbit. Secret memo. Purpose: measure the human body's resistance to sulfur mustard. Note: no public leaks. Use military threats to silence the subjects. The war was over. The victims thought they would be honored. But in reality, they were silenced. John Miller never returned home. His official documents listed him as missing in action. Robert Kane returned home crippled, his lungs destroyed, his skin burned. He secretly wrote a memoir. They say the enemy is the Nazis. But I guess the real enemy is those we trust. The memoir was never published. Robert was found dead by suicide in 1953. In the 1990s, secret archives began to be opened. The shocking truth emerged: more than 60,000 US and British soldiers were victims of mustard gas experiments. Many died without compensation. Some families only learned the truth 50 years later. An elderly doctor, Harrington, was interviewed before his death. He said quietly, "We thought we were saving thousands of lives. But now, I know we sacrificed innocent lives."